What's going on, y'all? Straight to the point, sports and entertainment. Please hit the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel if you're not a member. And be sure to hit them notifications so that you'll get all of my content as well as all of my videos. Um, um, Salute to the whole entire Lions Den basketball and boxing community. And salute to all of the people that rock with me, day ones as well as new subs. Now, I do want to give a shout out, first and foremost. Let me give a shout out to the brother Too Raw for TV. Um, if you're not sub to Too Raw for TV, definitely go sub to his channel. Um, Always bringing uh, various, tackling various subjects, and is the top historian on YouTube, and one of the sole front members of the LDBC community. Um, we've been down this road before, okay, plenty of times before. Now, to give you some backstory on this, okay, and I know that Ben Simmons right now currently he's getting ready to embark on his journey or what's left of his journey over there with the Los Angeles Clippers. Um, but the subject of Joel Embiid came up on First Take today. And basically, the question was posed by Molly to the panel, which included Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, and Brian Windhorst. And they basically were asked if the Sixers wasted Joel Embiid's peak. Okay. Um, Now, Stephen A. Smith, he responded with Ben Simmons wasting Joel Embiid's peak, which I I wholeheartedly disagree with. Okay. Now, um, Ben Simmons, did he miss? He missed his first year. Okay, he did miss his first year, but people got to understand that Joel Embiid, he missed his first 2 years. So Ben Simmons was actually on the court um, at a time when Joel Embiid wasn't on the court. Okay, now true enough, they both had went through roller coaster rides with their injuries and stuff like that. But I'm not going to fully defend Ben on this one because I rarely do. However, Ben Simmons, his first couple of years in the league, he did play a full stretch, like a full season, pretty much. His first season, I'm talking about not his first initial year, which would have technically counted as his rookie year, as his rookie season. I'm talking about that very next season. He played 81 games. Then that very next season, he played like 79 games. And then you started to kind of see um, the injuries start happening to him and stuff. But this is what we got to understand, that Ben Simmons was an all-star. He was a three-time all-star. and everything coming in. You know what I'm saying? Did he need to work on his craft and stuff like that? Yes. And there was a point in time when I did defend Ben Simmons. I actually defended Ben Simmons and I defended Joel Embiid. I was riding for both of these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted them to receive. I'm sorry about that, to succeed. Um, However, I started to see patterns to where both of these guys would not succeed or be on the level of some of the all-time greats because of different stuff that they were, showing me. Now, I'm giving this backstory because Stephen A. Smith was saying that Ben Simmons was the reason for Joel Embiid and his peak being slowed down and everything. I disagree with that. And Shannon Sharp had alluded to the fact that Joel Embiid had did this to himself, and I agree with that too. Uh, like I said before, Joel Embiid, he came in to the NBA hurt already. He had a foot injury. Okay, and you know it sounded kind of hypocritical because after Shannon Sharp had pretty much pointed out the fact of how Joel Embiid was not taking care of his body properly, how he was not eating right. You know what I'm saying? Not taking the necessary steps to be properly conditioned and take the weight off your back and take the weight off your knees and all this other stuff. Stephen A. alluded to the fact of how many different injuries that Joel Embiid had, and I had already said all of this. They even said something that I haven't heard anybody say except Shannon Sharp, and it sounds kind of familiar of something that I would usually say, which everybody asked me about the process and everything. I had always said the process of elimination. So you welcome, Shannon Sharp. Thank you. You welcome. You could thank me later because I know that you took that from me. But the thing about it is that when Shannon Sharp had said all of those things, Stephen A. Smith had mentioned that had all these injuries, such as the ankle, the knee, the ribs, the eye, sinus fracture, all these different injuries that have pretty much slowed down Joel Embiid. And the thing about it is, it has slowed him down to the point where they were making jokes and making references that he can't even use the bathroom and stuff like that. Now, on the surface, it might seem funny, but at the same time, Shannon Sharp did come with a real analogy, saying that as you get older, these injuries that you have, it takes longer for you to recover. It takes longer. It takes where it used to take you when you were like younger, like in your 20s or something, like uh, well before your prime and stuff. It used to take you like maybe a day or two to recover. Now those days turn into weeks, possibly months. But I say all this to say that when it comes to Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons too, no, the Sixers organization really had nothing to do with wasting Joel Embiid's peak. He brought this on himself. Okay, Ben Simmons didn't. You can't blame anybody. And if Joel Embiid is out here doing a finger pointing because he's already came out on record and said he wants to have another surgery just to put an end to all this madness, you've already had multiple surgeries and you just came off of a surgery, not even less than 7 months ago, 7 or 8 months ago. So now you need another surgery, which is going to require you to rehabilitate more, and then you're just going to be set back even further. It makes absolutely no sense at all. And the thing about it is I used to be in support of Joel Embiid. Some people used to look at me crazy for supporting Joel Embiid and supporting Ben Simmons. Salute to the Pull Up Podcast. I see you in the building, man. Make sure y'all go sub to the brother BJ over there at the Pull Up Podcast. Definitely only cracking, man. Definitely only cracking over there. But like I said, Joel Embiid has nobody. The Sixers organization, he can't point the finger there. He can't point the finger at Ben Simmons. And like I said, when Ben Simmons had first came in, and this is the thing, this is going to hurt some people's feelings. And I know some people are not going to believe this. Ben Simmons actually has played more than 75 games in his career. Joel Embiid has not. Ben Simmons was actually durable at one time. Ben Simmons, now looking at it now on the surface, and I know Pull Up Podcast, he may disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't think that Ben Simmons, like at this stage of his career, can benefit the Clippers. And the only reason I say that, man, is because first off, these guys are really upset about Terrence Mann leaving. Okay, I wish that Terrence Mann wouldn't have left that team. Okay, but Ben Simmons, if you would have bought Ben Simmons earlier in his career, and I'm talking about a Ben Simmons that could play 81 games, play the point guard on a regular, handle the rock, play make, even though he didn't have a shot that well, but could get you rebounds, stuff like that. Even though, he would not shoot the ball or anything like that. He did other intangibles, had the athleticism, all of this other stuff. Court vision was great, could run the break, do all this other stuff. If you're talking about that Ben Simmons, okay, then we have a conversation in terms of pushing that team over the edge, because there was a time when Ben Simmons would be in the playoffs on the regular. However, at this stage of Ben Simmons' career, we don't know, because looking at his track record, he went from playing. You're talking about a Ben Simmons that came out of LSU. You know what I'm saying? Had the question about, came in injured, but then after his rookie year, came in playing 81, 79, multiple All-Star games, was even all defensive. He made the all defensive team, led the league in steals. If it was that Ben Simmons, yes, that will push you over the edge. But not this Ben Simmons right now that's got a nerve issue in his back. So that's all good, but I wanted Cheap Man to stay with that loss is going to hurt us. You said Ben Simmons, I think, can do everything but shoot. He has actually been balling with Brooklyn this year. No one has been really watching because the Nets are trash. Man, listen, he did solid. I mean, he had a couple of questionable things that he did throughout the game. There was this one play I was looking at, and I was like, man, Ben Simmons, what are you doing? But he never wanted to progress. I had always defended this guy, BJ. I'd always I was saying, if Ben Simmons had a shot, he would be. I'll put you like this, BJ. If Ben Simmons, everybody likes to call him like a LeBron James type and all this other stuff. I would take it a step further, because if he had a shot, and being that he's left-handed, he would be more of a hybrid version of Michael Beasley. Okay, I know Michael Beasley done been in the news, just got arrested over there in Kansas and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hope he gets out of that situation. But Michael Beasley had that, he had that stop and pop. He was real smooth. He wasn't too fast or whatever, but he was really just calm when he played and stuff like that. Ben Simmons like would play like that if he had a shot. He would be a hybrid Michael Beasley that could also play make and defend, run the break, do all that other stuff, rebound. Um, plus he's long. He's 6'10", 6'11", or whatever to be doing all that stuff. Ben Simmons, you look at his game, and I know a lot of people would think I was crazy for this. When I looked at Ben Simmons and I looked at Joel Embiid, I actually wanted Ben Simmons to put his body of work together because I liked what he brought to the table. Yes, he didn't have a shot. There's many great point guards that didn't have a shot at that time, and then, like when you mentioned Rajon Rondo, he eventually got better with his shot. Jason Kidd eventually got better with his shot. Gary Payton eventually developed, some sort of mid-range, got better with his shot. You know what I'm saying? So, the great point guard, there were great point, Magic Johnson too. You know what I'm saying? He eventually got better, with his shot, free throws, all that, free throw making and stuff like that. And Ben Simmons, I wanted him to be like that. A lot of people were like, okay, they were using Magic as an example. And I don't mean to get off the subject or anything, but whenever I talk about Ben Simmons, it's just one of those situations where you're just like, damn, man, you just wanna like strangle Ben Simmons because you like, man, bro, you just don't know how talented you are, but you have all these injuries. The same thing with AD. You say, yeah, Mike Beasley was super skilled, crafty, knew how to use the body. He had all those tools, had all the intangibles and stuff, but never wanted to work on the shot. I mean, yeah, you saw him with D Book, in the little open gym, hitting shot after shot, and I'm like, wait a minute, what about this? And then there was times when, throughout the game, throughout the course, I think he had heard the rumblings of people saying that he needed to shoot a little more. When he was with the Sixers, there was a time when he was actually trying to work on shooting. Uh, Sometimes they would be cheering. I would be cheering as a Sixers fan. I'm like, okay, yeah, you see, he's actually shooting the ball or whatever. But then he would revert back to those habits. So basically, man, just spinning the block, talking about this Joel Embiid situation. I agree with Shannon Sharp, man, with what he was saying. He never took Joel Embiid never really took care of his body. Ben Simmons, at least Ben Simmons is still playing. I mean, Joel Embiid is playing, but the difference is that now Joel Embiid is talking about another surgery. If Joel Embiid has to have another surgery, now we have to really start looking at the after. Okay, all right, man. Hey, y'all make sure to go join the Pull Up Podcast over there, man. Salute to BJ. But the thing about it is, what I was about to say is, when it comes to Joel Embiid, okay, if you're gonna sit up here and you're gonna talk about, oh yeah, it's time for another surgery and all this other stuff, I think it's time for you to go ahead and consider retirement. It's time for you to it's time for you to consider retirement, man. You know, it's time to consider retirement because at this point, what is it that you're gonna end up doing? You're gonna end up wasting more time. That's more time that you're gonna be using that you could be on the floor playing, and not very many people are wanting to play with a guy who consistently stays hurt, who's always, you know, always got something. Every time you turn around, there's something wrong with him. And that's what become with Joel Embiid. And another thing is they're finally starting to realize that this is Maxi's team. And I've been telling people time and time again that this is Maxi's team, not necessarily because him putting up the numbers and the talent and all of that sort of thing, but the thing about it is that Maxi, he actually shows up in his durability and his ability to bounce back, man, from whatever is being thrown at him, any type of curveball. Joel Embiid constantly gets curveballs thrown at him, man, and it just seems like this guy does not know how to deal with it. He's not dealing with it like some of the all-time greats have dealt with it. When I think of guys that are constantly hurt, when I think of guys that are constantly injured, stuff like that, you think about Bill Walton. You think about the Larry Johnsons. Those guys made adjustments, and those guys were still able to, lead careers and everything. They might have not been the same type of player or whatnot, but they still were able to continue with their career and adjust to whatever was being thrown at them, you know. And of course, Larry Johnson to me is a sad story. Yes, he ended up with New York and everything, and had to make his game different, become more of a jump shooter because of his explosion and all that stuff was gone. But he still, nevertheless, was still able to play and still be on somebody's roster. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why, like, I look at Joel Embiid and I'm like, man, you got to do something right now because another surgery, it's really going to put you at risk of really ending your career again. And I know some people like, oh man, that's all you do is you talk about Joel Embiid, uh, you talk about him all the time and stuff like that. I had to mention this right here simply because the mainstream media wants to sit up here and put it on the organization. Now, one thing I do put on the organization, I put the blame on the organization for giving him that 3 years and giving him that $190 some odd dollars that was given to him. I put the blame on them. I put the blame on Daryl Morey, thinking that him and Paul George still have a shot at a championship. Yes, I put the blame on them. But in terms of the Sixers organization wasting Joel Embiid's prime and all this other stuff, nah, because that's a responsibility of the players. That's a responsibility that they have to do. They're obligated to show up. They're obligated to manage their bodies too as well. And I know that they had mentioned, oh yeah, well they have the top doctors on the planet and this, that, and the third or whatever. But still, a a big part of that responsibility does fall on the players. You know what I'm saying? And the doctor is going to tell you, hey, you need to do this in order to stay healthy. Like when we mention the Olympics, I'm so sick of them mentioning the Olympics and everything. And Brian Windhorst was up in there saying, "Oh yeah, well he was healthy. He was healthy at the Olympics. He was healthy during training camp." We can't say all of that. Are we really gonna sit up here and say that he was healthy? Because if you were that healthy, you would have showed up to training camp, and then you would have played throughout the preseason, and then you would have been at the beginning of the season, and then you wouldn't have been complaining about no back to backs. Now, I tried to let him live in terms of the back to backs. I tried to let him live, but after you started missing all these games and stuff like that, What that tells me is that, okay, you might as well just go ahead and forfeit the season. If you're gonna be sitting out, you're gonna sit out back to backs. Then on top of that, you're sitting out, the majority of the season, and you're letting all these other guys play when they've had injuries, when they've been hurt, they've had stuff going on. You might as well just go ahead and sit out, you know, and also start doing some soul search. During this time when you were sitting out, you really should have just did some soul searching, because I don't even think he realizes it. I don't even think he realizes it. Yeah, he's getting money, he's stealing money, but I don't think he realizes what he's doing in this organization. And people got the nerve to criticize Luca, guys like Luca and stuff like that. At least Luca, he got right back out there. Like Dumont, what's his name? Joel Embiid makes Luka Luka Doncic look like Karl Malone, and I say that because of the time that Joel Embiid has missed. So I'm really over the whole Joel Embiid experiment. Like I said, the Sixers, they did not waste his prime. Joel Embiid, that fell on Joel Embiid. That was his fault. That had nothing to do with the Sixers organization. Him taking. They probably told Joel Embiid, "Hey, you need to take care of your body. This, that, and the third." All the best doctors in the world. They told him to do this and do that and stuff, but he didn't want to listen, and he figured that he could get away with something that he was doing at the age of 19. That he could still eat like how he was eating at 29 and all of that. Which really isn't the case. Um, the other subject that I wanted to talk about too, I want to talk about what Too Raw was talking about. Now, shout out to Too Raw for TV, and Too Raw had talked about what Shannon Sharp has said, and I saw the segment too, and I wanted to kind of allude on that and elaborate on that a little bit more, because I talked about it a little bit this morning when I was talking about uh, Luca, making his debut with the Lakers and all that stuff. We need to not be a prisoner of the moment. The Lakers are not a championship team, okay? Have they won six straight? Yes, they have. Okay, I said that this morning. Have they won 12 out of their last 14? Absolutely, they have. However, some of these teams that we mentioned, okay, they're not they're not capable of beating because of what Stephen A had pointed out, and that is their front line. Whether we believe it or not, they still need a front line. The Lakers cannot win by small ball, particularly when we talk about playoff basketball, because you have to think. An example that the brother Tura had brought up: Dallas did beat OKC. Okay, Dallas did beat OKC. Now they beat them. They came within a call and everything like that. But they had a front line in which Dallas their front line is non-existent now, because they got all of their bigs are out pretty much. They got Gafford out, they got Lively out, they got Anthony Davis out, and they got Dwight Powell out. So the only people they have to rely on is Washington. But having said all of that, I like Jackson Hayes. I like Jackson Hayes. However, the thing about it is Jackson Hayes, he's not experienced. He lacks he lacks the tenacity, at times, to get it done. He's not at that level yet. Okay, and I don't, and me myself personally, I don't think Jackson Hayes will ever be at that level. It's sad because I want Jackson level. I want Jackson to uh, take it to that next level, but I just don't see it happening. Besides, we're forgetting that they played Utah. Okay, and I must stress that again. They played Utah. Okay, this is a team that does not have an identity. This is a team that's young. You know, these guys are not going to go to the playoffs or anything. Now, if you're beating teams like Denver, if you're beating OKC, if you're beating Memphis, if you're beating H Town, and I'm really just talking about the West. Yes, you went over there, you beat New York, and I forgot who else. I forgot who else they beat. But you know, yes, you beat a couple good teams and stuff. But we know that the real season starts after the All Star game, and that's what I need to see. And yes, you are in fourth place, but all that goes out of the window if you're facing a Denver team who pretty much still has that core, with the exception of Bayon, Christian Bayon or whatnot. I think he had like 26 points last night. They just demolished what you call last night. I think it was like they put up like 146 points. Jokic had a monster game. Like Stephen A. Smith was saying. He said you got to be worried about Denver before you can even start talking about OKC and stuff. But see, that's the thing. People are gonna become prisoners of the moment. I'm not a prisoner. I'm not a prisoner of the moment. Look, Luca had to get his legs up under him. They're playing the same team again. They're playing the same team again. And Luca and LeBron are, their games are similar and stuff. And they do need to be on the court a lot more together because they got to go through some tough times too. In order for like everybody thinking that this thing is gonna work, and it always starts off good. But there's going to be some times when y'all are going to have to bump heads. There was times when Luca and Kyrie, they weren't on the same page. There was a time when they weren't on the same page. As good as they were together, there was a time when they weren't on the same page. As a matter of fact, when Luca and Kyrie, when they first started playing with one another, people got to understand that they weren't successful at first. They had missed the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen here, but we can't automatically just assume that, just because they beat a Utah team, a Utah team that does not have an identity, a Utah team that clearly is not going to make a playoff, all of a sudden these guys have, they're ready to win the championship. No. And they still need they still need a lot more weapons. And a lot of these guys have not played with I put it like this: all of these guys have not played with Luca. All of these guys have not played with Luca. I think I want to say Christian Woods has played with Luca, but I'm not so sure about that. But because Christian Woods was in he was in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, like I said, man, I'm not gonna sit here and be uh, a prisoner of the moment. Now, is it? I guess you could say is the entertainment factor is that good? Yeah, is it good? For people to get hyped up and have something to wish for. Yeah, it is. But you could wish upon a star for this one all you can. It's not happening. Now, I did doubt Dallas in the beginning. I will say that when it comes to Kyrie and when it comes to Luca. I had doubted them, but they had a front line. They had a front line, and they had guys that could defend. You know, what's it called? They don't have no front line. They don't have guys that that could defend. Well, they got a couple of solid defenders on their team, but they could be a lot better. But when you look at their team, you don't see a Drew Holiday. You don't see like a Dyson Daniel. They lost one of their key defenders. They lost Max Christie. Yeah, they lost him. So people got to stop saying that the Lakers, like Shannon Sharp, got to stop thinking that the Lakers are automatically going to win a title and stuff. And we all know what's going to happen. Luka could have came in the middle of the season. And guess what? They still gonna point the finger. They gonna blame. Just like when Kyrie had came over there to Dallas, he came. He didn't come like at the beginning of the season. This was during the season. And they didn't make the playoffs or whatever. Guess what? They had the audacity to blame Kyrie, and a lot of people were like, "Yeah, we knew it. We knew it wasn't gonna work, and all this other stuff." And guess what? That very next season, they were in the finals. But I'm not saying that this situation is going to take place. We know that LeBron is much older. You know, it's just a lot of things that we got to take into account. And then also, I do look at it from a coaching standpoint. Now, a lot of people are giving JJ Redick his just due. I'm not going to give JJ Redick his just due until he at least makes a finals. He has to make a finals. And I'm almost at the point now where, with all the shit that he talked, you not only have to make a finals, but you also got to win that thing too. But that's just me being generous, saying that you got to make the finals. Other than that, um, you know, your season is going to be a failure in comparison to Darvin Ham. Yes, I'm going there with Darvin Ham, and I'm gonna take it a step further. Churro had mentioned how they were so ready to get rid of Darvin Ham, they were ready to get rid of Frank Vogel. People forget that Frank Vogel, he was the one that got him a championship. Was coaching him to a championship, and I know people don't count it, but nevertheless, he still was on that team, and people still say 4 championships. So, but they fired him. We got rid of him. Then it was Darvin Ham. They got rid of him. So yeah, uh, nothing else left to be said, man. We'll see what happens. Make sure y'all like the video, share it, subscribe, hit them notifications too. Shouts out to the whole entire Lions Den basketball boxing community. And salute to all of the people that rock with me. Until then, man, I'm out.